Today we have this beautiful 8-inch Sony. This is a KV-8AD11 from 1991, and as you can see, whenever we plug this power in, I don't know if you can hear that, but we just hear this noise. There's a high-pitch buzz and no power. So let's get this opened up and see what we see. So we took out a screw from here, 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 and here, and with just that, we're able to get this off. Just be cautious of this speaker connector right here as you're pulling this top piece off, because you'll have to disconnect this. So with a no power on scenario like this, we're going to want to look at the power supply board, which is this right here first. That's what I'm leaning to think will have an issue. So let's get this all unplugged and pulled out of here. So this power board slipped out really easily, and it just had these 4 connectors on it to unplug. And looking over the power supply board, there's an obvious problem. Can you spot it? This capacitor here has obviously died. It looks obviously blown. So you just look at the capacitor and find out what it is. There, it says right there, it's a 25 volt 330 farad or 330 UF. So let's see if we can replace that. So we got that capacitor removed. As you can see, it looks really bad. And just to show you some further testing, our tester is reading this as a resistor, so definitely a problem. Got our replacement capacitor, 330 UF. And this is a higher voltage, which is just fine, and usually if one blew in the past, I'm happy to use a higher voltage. So this goes in with the positive facing me, so that's the longer leg. Got it soldered in there, looking really good. Now we're going to trim those legs off. Legs are trimmed, and I'm going to check a couple of these other capacitors before I put this power supply board back in. So I pulled this capacitor out right here, and it's also testing as a resistor in our tester, so we need to replace this one. This one is 33 UF 25 volt. So let's replace that. So this is that one, the negative and positive side. And when I removed this capacitor, the trace broke off. And so I just connected the leg of it to this solder point here, because you can see that that is connected to it. So if you're working on these boards, just be really careful, because I mean, I'm using my Hakko desoldering gun, which is, I think, one of the safest ways you can do this on a lower temp, and we still broke that. So just be careful. I'm going to test another capacitor here now. So now we remove this capacitor here, and it's got a really high ESR, and that's no good. So let's change that one. This is 100 UF 16 volt. So we got that one in. The traces fell apart for me again. So if you look right here, this leg is attached here and this leg is attached here. It looks kind of messy, but I'm sure the connection's good. So I think that's everything. Let me just look everything over real quick. So everything looks good to me. You might be asking, why am I not replacing this capacitor, this one, and this one also. And that's because they're reading just fine on the ESR tester. When I used the ESR tester on the ones I replaced in here that didn't look obviously blown, it wouldn't even read anything. So that's a problem, and that's why we replaced those. So we replaced 3 capacitors, one obviously blown, the other 2 weren't reading on the ESR tester. This is just a really good diagnosing tool when you're just looking at capacitors on the fly. It usually can tell you if they're bad or not, just within reason. It's not the only thing you should use to test capacitors, but it worked for us today, I think. So let's put everything back together and see what happens. So we got it plugged in, and it's not making that annoying buzz sound anymore, at least. Moment of truth. Oh, sounds good. And what do you know? It powered on. That's pretty exciting. Let's try putting a game on it. Looks pretty good. Just wanted to show off the remote control that this TV comes with too. I've never seen one with the remote before. It's just nice and cute and small. That's another way you can kind of see if a TV's been used very much, is if the buttons on the remote look very worn. And these ones don't, so I'm guessing that that's just another sign that this set is really low hour. Pretty cool. Another one back from the dead.